It is 9 o'clock, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Just want to welcome everybody to the ACES Summit 2023, and our first installment of that ACES Summit, the Resilient School Conference. And I will hand it over to Renee to do a land acknowledgement for us this morning.
Okay, welcome everyone. I'm glad to be here. So as a trauma-informed organization, the ACES Consortium must acknowledge the historical and continued trauma experienced by First Nations people. We also humbly acknowledge Arizona as the ancestral homeland of 22 recognized tribal nations. We respect First Nations people as original stewards of our land. These lands, still inhabited by Native descendants, border mountains sacred to Indigenous peoples. We honor them, their legacies, traditions, and continued contributions. We celebrate their past, present, and future generations who will forever call Arizona home. Welcome all.
Thank you. Thank you, Renee. So I just want to give everybody a heartfelt welcome to everyone joining us virtually at the 2023 ACES Summit. It's a pleasure to have everyone with us today and attending the Resilient Schools Conference, marking the start of our 4-day journey. So as we open this summit, it's important that we recognize the resilience and the critical role that it plays in our schools, especially in the context of our overarching theme, renewing connections. I think today more than ever, especially as we kind of round out COVID, our educational systems face the challenges of educating and supporting the emotional and psychological well-being of not just our students, but also our families and our educators as well. The concept of resilient schools embodies the ability to adapt, to recover, and to grow in the faces of challenges while maintaining and nurturing a supportive environment for our learners and our educators. Our discussions and our interactions today will dive deep into how we can strengthen the bonds within our school communities, fostering connections that are both healing and empowering. By integrating a trauma-informed approach, we aim to transform our schools, our spaces where every student feels understood, valued, and supportive. So today, we are going to explore some facets of resilience in the educational context. So I thank you all for joining us here today. Your participation, your ideas, your insights are going to drive change in Arizona. So let's just make these 4 days a transformative experience where we not only renew our connections, but also reimagine the future of education together. So without further ado, I welcome everybody to the Resilient School Conference. So I am Shamari Jackson. I've spent most of my career serving, advocating, and connecting communities and driving change with a desire to really reshape systems that have led to a constant loss for me, for my family, and for others who have experienced death because of health inequities. I'm the owner and executive director of Works Incorporated, formerly known as the South Mountain Works Coalition. I'm owner of Shamari Jackson Solutions, adjunct professor at Northern Arizona University. And I am the co-chair of the Resilience Coordinating Council with my esteemed colleague, Renee.
Hey there. So good morning, everyone. I'm Renee Redday. I'm originally from Boston, but I've lived in Flagstaff for 24 years. My husband is Danae and Dakota Sue, and my daughter is a freshman in high school. So that's a journey. I founded Building Community, a consultancy focused on relationship building and community engagement in schools and organizations a handful of years ago. And my work focuses on early education, family development, and community engagement. So I've been involved with the ACEs work since early 2000s. I'm an ACEs certified trainer, co-chair, as Shamari said, for the Resiliency Coordinating Council, and chair of the consortium's Rural and Indigenous Subcommittee. So thanks for having me, and like we said, welcome. I hope that you noticed that in the chat, there's a question in there for you. See it as a icebreaker, but also it has a wider purpose. I invite you, as you think about resilient schools, think of one word. And I say one word because we'd like to create post-conference a word cloud. So we see all these words. We're going through trainings and info sessions today, but sometimes so much can be summed up in a word. So when you think of resilient schools, we'd love to see what that means to you. I see a few now: safe, supportive, SEL, informed, hopeful. I love it. So keep them coming.
Thank you, Renee. And yeah, keep popping those in the chat. And we will know why everybody's here today and what you all are thinking about the resilient, sensitive school work that needs to be done here in Arizona. So next on our agenda, I'm going to give you a brief overview of the Resilience Coordinating Council. You know, this initiative was established by the Arizona ACEs Consortium with support from Vitalis Health, Arizona Community Foundation, and it really focuses on a critical mission around addressing the recommendations from the Trauma Sensitive School Report that was done by Vitalis Health. A group of us sat in, helped Vitalis do a trauma sensitive schools needs assessment. And what came out of there is the goals of the Resilience Coordinating Council. And our aim is to really build resilience and lessen the effects of adverse childhood experiences in Arizona schools. Our primary objective in the RCC is to establish a comprehensive knowledge base in trauma-sensitive practice for all school staff. This includes a significant emphasis on enhancing leadership development and recognizing the essential role in the effective implementation of these practices within our schools. We also focus on the enhancement of school employee wellness. So we understand that the well-being of our teachers is directly related to creating and nurturing an effective educational environment for our students. And then our third focus is regarding funding. One of our main priorities is to develop mechanisms that support trauma-sensitive practices in Arizona schools. And this involves a lot of exploring sustainable funding solutions that can underpin the vital initiatives that need to happen within our schools. And we talk a lot about, it's not always about funding. Sometimes it's about intentions, right? And I think a lot of the work that we do around funding can be intentional rather than just funding focused. So in our collaborative efforts, we've brought together a diverse array of partners, including Vitalis Health Foundation, the Arizona School Board Association, the Arizona Department of Education, the Department of Health Services, Maricopa County, Access, Project Aware, the Pima County Superintendent's Office, the South Mountain Works Coalition, Building Community LLC, and the Arizona Town Hall. You know, this collaboration of diversity allows us to offer comprehensive technical assistance to really the schools in adopting the trauma-sensitive practice and knowledge that needs to happen within the schools. So in summary, I just wanted the RCC is dedicated to transforming Arizona educational landscape into one that is fully trauma-informed. The mission and the actions of the RCC are directly aligned with the themes of this conference, particularly renewing connection and the track of advocacy, sustainability, and community care. By fostering a trauma-informed lens, we emphasize the importance of building and renewing connections within our educational communities. And I will say thank you. And if anybody wants to connect with the RCC, you can reach out to me or Renee or the ACES Consortium.
Awesome. So yeah, so we've been at work for a while. I love that the Resiliency Council is a diverse group. Really, any work that we do, we prioritize by voices of both members and their communities. So just know that having opportunities like today to share help us a lot in our mission too. And like Shamari said, we welcome you to join us. In 2023, some of the accomplishments we held some statewide focus groups. So it was open to folks across the state. There were virtual opportunities. We had administrators that joined, we had teachers that joined, and many others. And the purpose was to hear what was going on in communities, what needed to be prioritized, particularly in schools, not only for children, but also for staff. We received some feedback on school safety, school connectedness, the need for policy and procedure development and support with implementation, as well as some simple practices for staff wellness. I say simple because folks were like, you know, have a breakfast out, have a once a month meeting. So there were some simple opportunities that came about as suggestions from staff on how to build staff wellness. A few of the other things, we created a one-pager descriptor of what the Resiliency Council is, who we are, what we do. Some statewide statistics were on there on trauma-informed practices, as well as areas of greatest needs, and priority focus and some recommendations. So I believe those are up on the ACES website that you can check out. But we try to summarize our purpose, why we're here and what we're doing and why, and what it can look like, what we hope the outcome will look like. We created a funding webinar. As Shamari said, you know, when we think of these trauma-informed practices and what do they mean for schools, sometimes it comes up, well, where are the funding for it? So there's opportunities. There's not as many as we would hope, but that's part of our work. But the webinar was recorded and can be found on the ACES webpage. So aces.org, check it out. In the webinar, we highlight some statewide opportunities, opportunities that were available to support tribal nations, some that were supporting school districts, both in northern Arizona, central Arizona, and southern Arizona, as well as some grants. We also made mention of potential use of Title I funds and or training funds that are available to schools. So like Shamari said, it doesn't always mean that we need to come up with new funding sources, but be intentional about the sources that we do have, or what things that we can do just by setting an intention to build community and resiliency in our schools. Another pretty exciting happening in 2023 with funding from Maricopa Department of Public Health, the ACES Consortium assisted in creating the Resilience and Power Project curriculum. So this project currently provides coaches to schools and organizations in Maricopa County, but it's a great pilot and have hopes we'll see where this can spread. And another accomplishment is happening today. Today from 3 to 5, Arizona Town Hall will be facilitating a session with us. I don't know if any of you have participated in a town hall before. It's pretty amazing when like minds come together and share what they'd like to see, what comes from that conversation. So the conversation this evening or later this afternoon from 3 to 5 will focus on learning from you. Like we said, any of this work needs to come from across the state, from diverse perspectives, but we need those folks that are willing to step up and use their voice. So I'm grateful that that's you. We will ask you what trauma-informed school-based practices are and how we can collectively support schools across our state in becoming trauma-informed. So it's that conversation of what is it and how do we do it? And all of these, through all these diverse perspectives, Arizona Town Hall has a system in place where the conversation is facilitated in smaller groups, but then brought back and told to a expert recorder that summarizes all that content and takes all the voices in the room. And we leave with a statement that is really a collective statement. So I hope that you have registered for that town hall. And if so, I will see you later this afternoon. And I will pass it on to Shamari to share what's coming up for 2024.
Yeah, we've been busy in 2023, laying a lot of the foundation work to move things forward in 2024. So, you know, the RCC moving forward this year are going to be looking at, you know, its core strategies around funding, teacher wellness, and curriculum development. So a major focus will be on teacher and staff wellness, right? We're planning to introduce a series of classes and webinars designed to provide educational resources centered on trauma-sensitive practice within the schools. And these aren't intended for just new teachers, but also those who have entered the profession through non-traditional paths, such as emergency substitute certificates, you know, also, you know, teachers that may be coming out of community colleges and getting trained to be teachers. We're also looking at resource development and exploring the possibility of creating a centralized platform that aims to really bring together all of these initiatives that are happening across the state and giving them, allowing them to be more accessible to one another and integrating these, the work that's being done, reducing really the likelihood of us working in isolation. For any new organizations that want to get into, start doing some of this work, they don't have to do it by themselves. They have people that, you know, may look like them or doing similar work that they can reach out to. We also want to do more community engagement, really kind of engaging directly with communities to assist in the implementation and the design of some of these trauma-sensitive practices within their schools. We'll continue to focus on funding mechanisms. This includes looking into what funds SAMHSA has and making those accessible to some of our communities that don't traditionally have access to some of these resources. We're looking at the allocation and how to support schools and districts around allocating funds into school and professional development, as well as reallocating some of the Title I funds to support some of these materials and strategies around trauma-sensitive practices. We're looking at collaborating with more media outlets, you know, with the possibility of doing an Ask the Expert series, where we can broaden public understanding of trauma-informed practices. You know, within the curriculum front, we plan to work on clarifying the essence of what trauma-sensitive education looks like and creating a set standard for how we all speak and address trauma-sensitive practices. So, aligning that with the neuroscience and the developmental understanding of ACEs so that we can all be on the same page and there's a common language amongst us no matter where we're at in the state. We're contemplating the development of a comprehensive repository that would capture various works and initiatives across the state. So as we outline kind of these plans to remain mindful, this journey is really one of a kind. And it's going to take a lot of thinking, a lot of aspiration, but we are, as a RCC, prepared to adapt, to evolve, and to support our communities and schools to help navigate this path forward. So some of the events that are coming up in 2024, we're already starting to plan into next year. So the RCC is we're prepping up after our town hall today. That town hall will lay the foundation for additional town halls in the spring. So we will be hosting similar town halls in Cochise, Yuma, and Mojave County. And these are vital touch points for engaging these communities and understanding their own aspects of and getting insight in the experiences of their community to allow them to kind of dive deeper into the work that is often kind of being missed in some of these more rural communities. So each town hall is an opportunity for us to listen and learn and be able to help and support communities around the state. So all of your feedback and your insight is important. And we invite you again to gather to today's town hall, because a lot of the information to today that we're going to be gathering will filter in and lay the foundation for these spring town halls. And then in 2024, we also are set for June in collaboration with Arizona State University to host a trauma-sensitive schools conference. And this will be really a convergence of experts, practitioners, advocates, communities in the field of trauma-sensitive education. I think it'll be an excellent opportunity for everybody to network, share their developments, share their experiences, and just partnering with ASU allows us to bring together a rich program of workshops, keynotes, and interactive sessions. So be on the lookout for that. And then, just make sure that you got all of these on your calendar. I think just hearing what we're doing in the RCC is just moving us into a space where, it's just representing our commitment to developing trauma-sensitive communities. These are all milestones that are a testament to our journey, testament to you all's journey, and we're doing what we can. So we invite you to mark your calendars, be ready to participate, give your insight, and I think together we can make a meaningful impact and to take significant strides to bettering our communities and helping our students move forward. So we'll kind of wrap up here in a moment. I want to emphasize just one more time that the role and collaboration that you all are doing today and the collective effort really is a testament to you all's journey of developing and creating resilient schools. The work that we're all engaged in is not just about our individual initiatives or isolated efforts. It's about coming together as communities, as educators, as professionals, to really foster an environment that truly understands and addresses the needs of our students, especially those that are most vulnerable.